By looking at the sales results of Grand Theft Auto V, you can easily say that it is a production that broke the system. Is this true? Absolutely. GTA V has almost everything that a game of this genre should contain. GTA V was created on the latest engine made by Rockstar and offers a storyline from the innovative perspective of 3 protagonists who travel through an extremely diverse game world. The city looks phenomenal. As it used to be said, the streets of the city are full of life, and we as players come across interesting situations at every turn. Despite this, it's not difficult to notice that while GTA V has many supporters, a large part, especially those of older players, undermines the greatness of this production, even in such an aspect as the plot, which is undoubtedly one of the greatest advantages of this game. And yes, no matter how much one would look for negative things and how successful these searches would be, still saying that GTA V is bad would be far from the truth. But the question is, why some elements, even though they are so good, still do not captivate some players? Why is it so hard for some players to get into the atmosphere of this game? And why do these players feel that something has been done differently? And while still good, in a completely different style that makes it worse than better? To try to find a problem in GTA V, you should pay attention to even those things that seem very trivial from the side. And so the first trivial aspect is that in GTA V, players receive a fully unlocked map for the first time from the very beginning of the game. This procedure has never been used in the GTA series so far, for a rather obvious reason. It is very helpful in building the story narrative and is one of the bigger rewards for those patient players who, thanks to this feature, will reach a certain stage. Let's be clear on that note. It's not that easy, and the previous parts of GTA could make it very difficult for us. Probably one of the best examples has always been GTA 4, where when performing missions in Broker and Bohan, we often saw beautiful Algonquin in the background, which is the equivalent of New York's Manhattan. And although we wanted to go there and see what this part of the metropolis looks like up close, we couldn't do that easily. We could only look at the charms of this island from a distance. In general, the use of an open map from the very beginning has not only disadvantages, there are advantages too. From the very beginning, the player gets a huge amount of land that he can start exploring at any time, immersing himself in the search for all sorts of curiosities. Trying to get 100% of the game is also not an issue in this situation, because the whole game world is open, and it's not bound by closed bridges or vigilant police just waiting for the player to step into a blocked area to kill him. On the other hand, it may be a bad decision because the unlocked map, in a way, distracts the player from what is most important in video games such as GTA. What the developers want to show us the most in games of this type, which is, of course, the storyline. Gradually revealing the map as you progress through the campaign is a popular practice because, as stated earlier, it helps build the story while also ensuring players won't be distracted from the story for long. At least not at the very beginning of the game, when 2/3 of the map is unreachable for the player. Furthermore, as shown in the episode about closed bridges and tunnels, the thumbnail of which you can currently see on the screen, and which you must watch if you haven't already, the implementation of closed areas also allows you to expand the background of the lore of the presented world, which, interestingly, can be of great importance to the plot of the game itself. Moving on, another aspect of GTA V that sets it apart from other GTA games in the series is the lack of a specific single-player DLC. After all, so far in the Grand Theft Auto series, there have been many moments where we received some addition to a given part of GTA. Maybe it wasn't necessarily referred to as DLC, but it was simply an extension of the story. If we look at the entire Grand Theft Auto series, the only parts of GTA without any extensions are only GTA 2, GTA San Andreas, and GTA 5. After all, even GTA 1 received official add-ons. In turn, for such productions as GTA 3 or GTA Vice City, the creators released prequels that clarified a lot for us, perfectly complementing certain threads. In addition, even if someone focused very much on the fact that GTA 2 and GTA San Andreas did not get add-ons after all, looking at the timelines, everything quickly justifies releasing groundbreaking titles at that time, for which we also didn't have to wait over 10 years, as it will be in the case of GTA 6. Grand Theft Auto 2 did not receive add-ons due to the need to quickly create the next installment of GTA in the then revolutionary 3D technology. In turn, In connection to the lack of an add-on to GTA San Andreas, you can't have too many complaints either, because after GTA San Andreas, we got 2 prequels to the previous parts, and 4 years after the release of GTA San Andreas, the revolutionary GTA 4. Meanwhile, after the release of GTA 5, Rockstar focused so much on milking the GTA Online cow that for 10 years in the context of the GTA series, for single-player fans, nothing was released. No wonder, because creating new things in GTA Online brought a fortune with relatively small amount of work. Up to a certain point, it was understandable and could be justified by a typical corporate action, which is getting the most profit with the least amount of resources and having the lowest costs. The only question is when a rational approach to making money mixed with spitting on our mouths at every possible step, which was even more emphasized by the remasters of GTA Trilogy, and the last even worse decision on new ports of the first Red Dead Redemption. In summary, it's only worth saying that it's a pity that GTA 5 didn't have DLC like GTA 4. Even though both add-ons to GTA 4 are not particularly large, they still offer a wealth of information expanding the player's knowledge. Another drawback of GTA 5 that is worth mentioning is the widespread and exaggerated hand-holding of the player, which completely misses the concept and the original idea of creating parts belonging to this franchise. As you know, the Grand Theft Auto series was never intended to be a series of games that are easy to play. From GTA 1, it was noticeable that especially those less experienced players had a lot of problems with completing missions. What's funny is that it often happened that the player was not even familiar with the various mechanics of the game and found out about some by accident. Moreover, there was no map or radar in the game. You had to explore the game on your own. It wasn't any better in the later installments of the series. Yes, certain parts of GTA got some upgrades that helped the player over time, but it was never to such a big extent. Also, there were often problems with getting weapons, especially in these early stages of the games. In GTA 5, during the robbery of the jewelry store, we can be armed to the point of breaking through the military base in Lago Zancudo. What's more, it's hard to find a mission that is somehow particularly difficult in GTA 5. There are indeed quests that are damn long and extensive in this game. It's also true that during these missions, a multitude of enemies armed with the best possible weapons spawn in front of the player's eyes. The issue is that the player will not care about it because the controls and the AI level are so average that each mission is not problematic for us. Hell, even if someone cannot handle it, he has the special abilities of the main character at his disposal, which make everything even easier. Going back in time in the GTA series, we faced many missions that were so difficult that we had to replay them many times. The mission called SAM, S-A-M in GTA 3, the Demolition Man mission in GTA Vice City, and the meme Wrong Side of the Tracks mission in GTA San Andreas are just some of the challenging missions that GTA 5 lacks so much. The next thing about GTA 5's storyline that, let's just say it, doesn't fit the GTA series is that it feels horribly chopped and therefore somewhat erroneously considered multi-threaded. When we take a closer look at the entire story of GTA 5, we can get the impression that it's very monothematic. Most of the game revolves around a bank robber in North Yankton, where controversial details are revealed about Michael's plan to set up his friends. Of course, in the meantime, players are also introduced to Franklin and Trevor, but their threads seem to be petty and underdeveloped. In the GTA series, we could often get the impression that after passing a given stage, there are a lot of question marks. A good example is GTA San Andreas, but even this part in terms of inaccuracies does not match GTA 5. And on top of that, many times players take part in highly absorbing heists, which, while they're great in terms of gameplay, they don't have much to do with the story. Usually, the pattern is the same. The main characters need money for something. They come up with an idea of what to rob to get it, and then they go on a heist. And in this situation, only 1/3 of the mission gives some short amount of lore, without bringing anything big and somehow super cool. Still, it's good that from time to time there are some cool curiosities and cameo appearances in these missions, such as the opportunity to talk to Packy McCreary, with whom Niko Bellic collaborated during the bank heist in GTA 4.
Me, my brother Derek, God rest his soul, my pal Michael, God rest his soul, and another boy, Nico, who's probably dead too.
They're all dead. Must have been jinxed, huh?
It's even worth emphasizing that in GTA 5, contrary to appearances, players will not get to know too many characters. There are plenty of characters in GTA 5, but the thing is, these characters are mostly episodic. This is a big problem because even when an interesting character stands in our way, contact with such a person breaks off very quickly. A nice example is Tanisha and her relationship with Franklin, which we barely got to know and which we were so interested in. As for the storyline with 3 protagonists, it was certainly a good idea. The implementation of this concept looks great in many cases. Missions, where we use all main characters to achieve the goal, are just great. However, unfortunately, the narrative is a bit lame in all this. We have the impression that we're watching the story of one character and 2 men assisting this story. Even if we play Franklin or Trevor for a moment, it all ends up with Michael. In the beginning, we play Franklin and we're doing tasks for Simeon. We get him vehicles, collect debts, and suddenly we have Michael in the lead role. Then, we seem to move away from Michael in favor of Trevor, but already in the mission presenting Trevor, Michael becomes the main target, and the majority of things are centered around him. It's a bit like Franklin and Trevor are just here for good measure. It is Michael's story that seems to be the most extensive, and everything revolves around him. It looks a bit like in the case of Johnny Klebitz and Luis Lopez from the GTA 4 add-ons. To avoid this impression, the developers create Franklin as the main character through the last missions in the game. But this ending is still unable to take away the impression of who is the main character of the main characters in GTA 5. Worst of all, although Michael DeSanta is probably the biggest contributor to the entire storyline of GTA 5, some players still find it difficult to get used to him completely. And it's not necessarily because the man betrayed his friend, but because the narrative, led by the creators, may seem slightly chaotic and underdeveloped. Jumping from one protagonist to another makes it impossible for the player to fully focus on one of them. To sum up, Grand Theft Auto 5, despite its many advantages, clearly stands out from the entire GTA series, not necessarily in a good way. The game has a lot of cool innovations and appropriate changes in the context of the presented world, but in terms of previous parts, these changes just don't quite fit. Some old fans of the series might think to themselves, well, GTA 5 is a good game, but is it still a GTA as it should be? Meanwhile, that would be all. If you liked this episode, be sure to watch the next 2 videos that are displayed on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you soon!